In this video, I'm gonna talk about the VanTrue N4 camera that stopped recording. That happened with me. The camera was recording and all of a sudden it stopped, okay? There are different problems that can occur with this camera. So let's start talking about SD cards and also about the connection on the camera. So first thing, if you need to check if you have the power correctly connected. In my case here, I'm using this cup holder with a GPS. I need to make sure that the cable is good, it's connected. And also the cable that comes to the other camera, the rear camera, okay? If your cable is connected here and it's dangling or something like that, so you can have a problem. And also need to check your cable for shortcut, okay? If your cable is shortcutted, you can have a problem. The camera is going to turn off by itself. So the first test you can do is to remove the cable from the rear camera and test it again and see if it works, okay? And also check your power here to make sure it's working fine, okay? Other than that could be the card. So here I have a table with different information about cards. As you can see, I have from C2 to C10, U1, U3 cards. I have another video that explains the details about different cards here, okay? But just as an overview, you need to make sure you are using the correct card. As you can see, I have this card with no brand, so it's not a good idea to use a card like this. So you need to go with a SanDisk or Samsung. SanDisk is a good one, but be careful with the card speed. A lot of people pay attention just to the capacity of the card. In this case, for example, this one is 32 gigabytes. So you can record about 2 days with a card like this. And this one is 128. You can record about 8 days with this card. But the important part here is the speed. As you can see, this one, I have no idea what's the speed of the card. This one, the SanDisk, is a C10 or U1. So I have here 10 megabytes per second for this card. So that's the speed the card can record, the camera can record into the card. If you move here to cards like U3, for example, you have 30 megabytes per second, which is 3 times the speed of a C10. So it's a good idea to go to a U3 card, so you can record like 3 times faster, or even go to faster card. As you can see, this one here, for example, is U3, but with 90 megabytes per second speed. I know because I have here the card when I bought it, I have this information, okay? So if you cannot see the details on the card, you can see here that this card is 128 gigabytes. So I have a large capacity to record almost 8 days also. And the speed, so you have the reading speed and also the writing speed, so 90 megabytes per second, okay? So it's a U3, but it's a fast card, so the camera can record pretty fast with this card, and then I don't have the problem the camera stops recording. As you can see here in my case, the camera shows this blue LED, so I know that's recording because I'm using parking mode. If you want to understand how it works, you can watch another video that I have here on the channel talking about parking mode. So basically, when I'm looking this LED in my car, if the LED is not on or it's not blinking here, so I'm sure the camera is no longer recording. That start happening with this card. This is a C10 card, and then I replace it for this card, and I don't have problem anymore, okay? And you also need to make sure that you replace your card every single year, because this is a card and is going to wear for after some time using it, and then you need to replace it every single year. It's a good investment because you have your card here in the camera. If the camera doesn't record something, you're gonna lose the event. You can have a problem, you have accident or something like that. You need to show the video to somebody and you just don't have it because you didn't replace your card. So it's a good idea to have your card replaced every single year, okay? Something important is also to check here is when you go to the menu, you need to check here, for example, in your recording, the resolution of your camera, okay? So you have, like in this case, the front camera, the cabin, and the rear camera. And if I take a look at the resolution of these cameras, I see that I have the first one at 1440p, 1080p, 1080p, 30 frames per second. Guys, that's a lot of information for the card to record. So imagine the card's recording 1, 2, 3 camera, each one with a high resolution. This one is not that high, but this one is a full HD resolution, full HD as well, 1080p, and 30 frames per second, meaning 30 frames every single second, right? So it's a lot of information, so the card needs to handle, and this one is the best one to go. So probably if you're using like a C10 card, the card is not fast enough to grab all the information from the camera, and that's why the card stops recording and you don't see the LED here anymore, or you don't see the image here on your screen anymore, because it's just stopped recording. So it's a good idea to use a card like this. This information is the capacity of the card, but usually here you have the information about the resolution. Let's say this one, for example, 1080p, 4K resolution, even 8K, you can record with a card like this. But in this case, we're talking about 3 different cameras at 30 frames per second with high resolution. So it's a great idea. Go to the 90 megabytes per second card, and also a good brand like SanDisk, for example. I will leave the link here in the description for this card that I'm using. I'm using for 1 month now, and it's pretty good. Okay, this one like stopped failing on me like in the same week I started using it because of the speed. C10 is not enough for a camera like this. And also people start discussing about brands like Samsung, SanDisk, which one is good, which one is not. SanDisk is the most recognizable brand for recording on different cameras, right? Even for CCTV, SanDisk is a good one, okay? So you can trust this brand as long as you go with the correct card for your camera. And of course, you need to come here to the menu and also format the card and have the card ready to go. But as long as you have the good one, okay? So guys, take this into consideration, okay? Check the cables, check the card that you're using the correct one, and then you can make sure that your camera is going to record every event there and you're not losing anything, all right? So that's all for today. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave your thumbs up and your comments, and I see you in the next one.